Hello and welcome to Sheepdog Says. I'm Sheepdog, and today I've got a bit of an unusual story, I guess. It's just a really random thing that happened to me a few years back, and I guess what reminded me of it was just thinking. So every now and again, especially since I've been doing these videos, I've started to just see and think of something and think to myself, Jesus, that's an example of my stupid cartoon life happening again. Or I forgot that happened. Life is ridiculous. Why do these things keep happening? And today's kind of trigger was when I put on my t-shirt today when I got in from work. I was getting changed and I thought to myself, the story behind me receiving this is just weird and odd. And it goes back to like, I don't know, 2012, 2013, I don't know, maybe later. When I met Mrs. Sheepdog, she bought me the awesome game Burnout 3 on, I guess it was PS2 at the time. And the soundtrack on that game is fantastic. And one of the bands on it, who are in this t-shirt, is called Go Betty Go. So I was a massive fan of them and listened to their albums. I think they had 2 albums out at the time. And I listened to them all the time. And then one day, when Spotify had become a thing, I used to get frustrated that every band I listened to ever was on there except for these guys. And I was getting frustrated with the fact that I only ever listened to them if I put a CD on or if I was ever like just in the car or whatever. And my wife didn't really like their music, although I did. So I messaged them one day and just said, why aren't you on Spotify like everyone else in the world is? Can you not just put your songs on there? It'd really do me a favour. And I kind of thought that's step one of my weird thing, is that I'm quite happy to just go and ask the universe to sort out something that fits my will. Like, I'm quite happy to go and say to this band, can you take the time to go and add your music on there, because it'll benefit me, it'll benefit you, and it should be on there. Now, I didn't expect to reply, but they replied pretty much like within a day saying, what are you talking about? We are on there. And I replied saying, no, you're not. I've tried everything. I've tried, all the different variations I could think of, no spaces, different song names, nothing's on there. They sent me a screenshot, I sent them a screenshot. And then in the end, one of them said to me, do you have Facebook? And I was like, of course, it was whatever year, 2014, let's say, of course I have Facebook. So they added me and they talked me through it over Facebook Messenger until we established that I was right. In America, they're on Spotify, but in the UK, they weren't. So they went away and they sorted it out, and they were, happy. They said, well, thanks for that, because we didn't know we weren't on there. And, we'll, every time someone plays our music, we'll get a little kickback from that. So you've done us a bit of a favour, thank you. So then I was on to them, when are you releasing more music? What's going on? They sort of said, we're in different places now. We don't really have time. We don't really have the lifestyle for it anymore. And I kind of left it there. And then, I don't know, it must have been about a year and a half later. I hadn't been talking to them on Facebook ever or anything like that. And then I was playing SimCity, the EA game for PC, where you basically build a city. It's SimCity 5. And then one day I was just happened to be building up my city, and I built a stadium. And in the stadiums, you can run certain events. And when you run a rock concert, I'm going to put a clip in here to show you what happens. So, if I've worked this out right, it should cut to me doing that now. No satisfacción marcas, cara mis citas solo manis, arti música, si lo fai mi allenato, uno quando su tu palo sarritas, sala mi cana, aquí Milano, Juan mi casuca, pala mi sola, manta soli quando cocinas. All things lost, things Milan, sans retronin. So I saw that and I thought to myself, they sound familiar. So I messaged the drummer and I said, when did you, I know you do games, I know you were on Burnout, but when did you do SimCity? Because you're not a band anymore. You've all gone your separate ways. You're not really into it anymore. Yet there you are on a game that's came out this year. And again, weird situation. We weren't on a game. I'm pretty sure you're on a game. Nah, you must just be thinking of someone else. pretty sure I'm not thinking of somebody else. We went back and forth like that, with her insisting they had not recorded a song for a game, and me insisting that it had to be them, until I went on YouTube, got a clip, probably that clip, but I don't think it was, and sent it to them and said, I am certain this is you. And she replied, wow, okay, good ear, that is us. We recorded that, I don't know, 2008 for The Sims 2 or something like that, in a language called Simlish or something like that, Simglish, I can't remember the language from The Sims. But apparently they'd been commissioned to basically sing this gobbledygook song for The Sims 2. I think it was an add-on pack where I guess your sim could join a rock band, and when they'd get their instruments, they'd start playing and singing that song. And they'd agreed that one-time deal with EA, but then somebody at EA had obviously goofed and basically gone and got the track and stuck it in the stadium just on a whim. So she was like, yeah, thanks for that. That's really cool. Well, you know, isn't life funny? Whatever. And I just thought nothing of it and was like, that's hilarious. And then about 6 months later, out of the blue again, I remember I was on Xbox playing a game. I think I was playing Mass Effect with Powerboo, I do the Mature Gamer podcast with. And I got this message through saying like, hi, you know, you mentioned this to us a few months back, and we chased it up with our agent and EA, and just kind of, you know, went down a rabbit hole and whatever. And they said, and you know, long story short, we were owed a ton of money for that because they didn't have permission to do it, and so they've had to pay us out like a bit of here you go, sorry, we didn't ask for your permission, you know, here's some payment. And I don't know how much they got. I'm not expecting it to have been hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands even. I imagine it was probably pocket change to an adult, but they were just like, this is ridiculous, thank you, I really appreciate you taking the time out to tell me about it. What's your address? We'd like to send you some stuff. So, you know, again, I just thought it'd be, you know, a little thing. But then I got this awesome T-shirt of the band, which I don't wear out too often because, I mean, it's got random people's faces on it. But I did message them because I know that they've got family from the Canary Islands, and I went out to the Canary Islands. So I sent them a picture saying, I'm wearing your T-shirt in your, like, the land of your ancestors. But yeah, they sent me like a nice little letter just saying that, yeah, thanks very much, we really appreciate your support. They think my surname is Bass instead of Bass, so their bassist was like, yeah, awesome name. The lead singer's an awesome artist, so she drew this really cool picture of them. And yeah, it was just one of those things where I got some little bits and bobs and stickers and that, and then about 6 months after that, they got back together and they said, oh, we're going to do some more music. And I was just like, this has been the perfect cycle of just every time I've asked them a question, they've said no, and then the answers turned out to be yes. And you know, they ended up doing some gigs where they were on, I can't remember what it's called, Stage It, I think the website is called, where basically if you're in a band and you've not heard of this, it's a great website that you should use. You could basically set up anywhere you want, put a webcam on like this. So I could set up a band in my kitchen, and then you lot could just watch the gig, and I could be just banging out on a guitar or whatever. I couldn't because I'm rubbish, I don't play any instruments, but I've watched a few of their shows, just sat there at like 11 o'clock at night in my living room on a monitor. They're rocking out in their living rooms or whatever, and they have people all around the world just watching them. And I remember, you know, going on there and just saying, oh, I'm watching from England, and I think there's me and one other person that were basically in this time zone that had stayed up all night just to watch it, and everyone else was pretty much America side. But yeah, I've just had this weird, like, just interaction with them for years now, and it all came from just a random present from Mrs. Sheepdog that was just like, oh yeah, I've got you this game, you might like it, and that's just been the one takeaway from it. Yeah, it's just weird. I love doing stuff like that, and it's made me think I need to do more stuff like that, because every now and again I just get the urge to just start firing out silly emails and see what happens. You know, it's got us nice guest spots on the podcast, it's got us into places, we learned all about press passes and review copies and all these sorts of things from it. But stuff like this was where I kind of started off doing it. I just had a punt. I wasn't taking the mickey. I wasn't sort of going to someone and going, can I have a free thing, please? It was just a, hi, you know, are you aware of this? Or I'm looking for information about this or whatever. And it's just kind of spiraled from there in such an awesome way. And yeah, I thought that would be a good example of my just ridiculous life where funny things happen. It's all just stupid. A normal person wouldn't have done half the things that happened there, but it pays off, and that's awesome. So, yeah, I'm going to wrap it up from here. I'll hopefully remember to edit the song in, so I don't just go like that and then move on to the next bit. You know, give me a like, a subscribe, and a comment. Let me know if you've already heard of the band Go Betty Go. They're really cool. I really suggest you check them out on Spotify. This is by no means, this wasn't prepared for anyone or done anything. You know, it wasn't a pre-planned thing. I just saw the t-shirt and thought, oh, awesome. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks very much for watching. And as I say, hit subscribe and let me know your thoughts. Thanks very much.